Thanks to our title sponsor, Juniper Networks, for helping make Research Saturday possible. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the CyberWire's Research Saturday. I'm Dave Bittner, and this is our weekly conversation with researchers and analysts, tracking down the threats and vulnerabilities, solving some of the hard problems of protecting ourselves in a rapidly evolving cyberspace. Thanks for joining us.
So basically, this campaign is saying the following thing, and it's not that unique in that sense. Saying, hey, there is some free of charge gift or prize or coupon, something in that nature. It's very compelling, it's very engaging in many ways, and it leads for victims to, press on that relevant link, go through a website, and from there, be more engaged with the scam, and as a result, lose some of their personal information.
That's Katz. He's a security executive for thought leadership and research at Akamai. The research we're discussing today is titled Highly Sophisticated Phishing Scams Are Abusing Holiday Sentiment. And it is good looking. I mean, they've taken the effort here to really make it look like the brands that they're impersonating.
Yes, definitely. And they're doing really good job, right? We don't want to admit that, but in a sense, they're doing good job for them to create something that's very trustworthy, look very appealing, looks like legit, and as a result of that, create much more engagement from potential victims, which is something that, we need to address, right? That's something that keep me awake at night. Right, being able to track those things and making sure that we know how to mitigate those kind of scams.
And I mean, this is using some of the standard social engineering schemes that we track here. I mean, they're sort of a call to action with some urgency. They even have some fake user forums.
And that's the story behind the scene, which is right. It's not just one campaign being activated. There's a bunch of those campaigns being activated at the same time. And they are using the same phishing toolkit in that sense. Like it's toolkit would be the software being used by adversaries to launch those kind of campaigns. And what they are doing is that they are creating those, as you mentioned, fake users that looks as if they're like social networks kind of users that are trying to say, hey, this campaign really, like this kind of offer really works. It's not a scam. I got some free, gift and etc. And they're doing that, and they're using the same fake users for different kind of campaign, different kind of merchandise being offered to the victims, and that's part of the scale of that kind of campaign.
Well, let's go through some of the technical things that they're doing here as well. They're taking advantage of some URL shorteners.
Yes. So. Overall, they're using a variety of techniques. The first one, as you mentioned, it's a URL shorteners. And in a sense, they're creating like a nest of, links that at the end of the day leads to the landing page, the actual phishing website. They're using that as part of their techniques and their ways to try to evade detection, using a nested kind of links to lead to different or same scam. Create kind of agility from their point of view to be able to change one of those links and still being resilient to detection in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, looking through the research here, I mean, it really reads like it's practically a textbook example of some of the techniques that we see here. I mean, they're using legitimate web services like AWS or Google Cloud.
Exactly. It's and I'm being asked about that a lot, right? I'm being asked, how come phishing is still working, right? And I'm struggling. Sometimes I'm struggling to answer that, right? How come people are still falling into those scams and being victimized by those scams? And there's two aspects for that. First of all, it's the social engineering part of that, how you can, engage people into those scams, and we talked about that. But the second part, as you mentioned, it's a variety of techniques being used to make sure that those scams works. and URL shorteners and being able to create, those kind of links that no one know how to detect. That's part of the magic that they are creating in order to, make sure that their scams still work.
There's a technical element here that you all highlight, and this is the usage of URI fragment identifier redirection. Can you unpack that for us? What are they doing here?
That's it's the first time that I was able to see that kind of techniques being used, and we haven't seen no one report on that techniques in the wild. So we consider that as a novel kind of technique. And the interesting part here, and that's before we go into the details, the issue is that adversaries are creating links that make sure that only those that press on the original link being sent to your email will be landing on the phishing scam. And in other words, if you will take the original link without some extra kind of information, that what we call URL fragmentation of that kind of link, and you will try to use that, you will not get into the landing page. If you will take that and use that from something that is not a browser, like a script or something like that scans a variety of URLs, you will not get to the landing page. And in that sense, it's one of those, again, a variety of techniques being used to make sure that those scams will work and will postpone detection of that scam by creating all kind of barriers for us from a defensive point of view. And that kind of link create that. Basically, it's in a way, it's that kind of techniques being used, making sure that only once we use our browser and using the original link that was sent to us, only then we will get to the landing page for the scam.
Juniper Connected Security helps organizations build threat-aware networks that extend security to every point of connection across the network. To learn more, visit juniper.net/security or connect with Juniper on Twitter or Facebook. That's juniper.net/security.
And now, a word from our sponsor, Strata. With multi-cloud, your apps and identities are distributed, making them hard to manage and secure. Strata takes all of your existing identity systems, integrates them into an identity fabric, a universal way for all your IDPs to work together. Never refactor your apps again. Never get locked into your IDP with one-to-one connectors. Identity orchestration helps you solve your biggest IAM problems, even the messy ones you thought were unsolvable. Bring Strata any IAM use case, like modernizing legacy apps to use passwordless authentication, hot switching between IDPs, or enabling identity operation resiliency. Strata's flexible, lightweight, and distributed architecture software is designed to extend the value of your identity infrastructure, no matter the complexity or scale. Share your time on a discovery call, and Strata will send you custom AirPods Pro. The multi-cloud identity wave is here, and you can ride it with Strata. Ready to learn more? Visit strata.io/cyberwire. That's strata.io/cyberwire. And we thank Strata Identity for sponsoring our show. So help me understand here. Does that mean that, for example, if this link was loaded in some kind of security package that pre-detonates links like this, that may not work it may not take them to the landing page where it would for me if I clicked on it in my browser?
Exactly that. In a sense, if you would try to reach out that link without using a browser or browser engine, right? You can do that automatically in a sort of simulation of a browser. If you will not do that, if you access that link, it will not work, because that link is actually using some functionality of JavaScript on our browser to create a follow-up link, a link that being generated by the browser, by the JavaScript running on our browser, to redirect us to the next stage of that scam. And if you are not running a browser or browser engine, you will not be able to create that link. And as a result of that, you will not get to the phishing scam. And in a sense, that's what motivated adversaries in a way. They're trying to make sure that those that are not legitimate victims, in a sense, right? The legitimate victim it's a bit...
That's an interesting turn of phrase, isn't it?
Exactly. Will not get to the scam, right? And when I'm trying to create an analogy for that from Akamai point of view on things that we're doing to protect our customers, when we are making sure that, users that are not humans, meaning bots, are not being, will not reach our websites because we want to block that kind of traffic, those kind of adversary are using similar techniques in a sense, but on the other way around. They are making sure that only victims will reach out their scam and not something that is trying to scan some URLs and try to figure out if that's a scam or not.
You point out the use of randomly generated URLs, that they're really working hard to limit the access to the kit.
Yeah. So again, variety of techniques. One of the techniques that we're able to see is a technique that makes sure that only the person that was following the link, the original link, will have access to the scam website. It's a dynamic kind of generation of that link that can change between different original links being sent to end users, to the victims. And they make sure that once you take a given link given to you, for example, and I will try to use that link from my browser, I will not get to that landing page. I need to follow the original link that was delivered for me on my email to be able to get to that scam. If you will give me the final link, the final URL that is exposed to you once you access the website and I will try to use it, it will not work. And again, think about it from an adversary point of view. They're trying to delay time for detection. They're trying to make sure that if you see something suspicious and you send it over for me to examine that, I will try to use that link and it will not work. And I will say, hey, nothing works here. I'm not getting into the scam. And as a result of that, detection times takes longer because we need to do more investigation and more, better understanding what really happened here.
Who do you suppose they're targeting here? Is there any specificity there in terms of who it seems like they're going after?
So the campaign that we tracked was mainly focused on North America victims. We noticed that there are some other campaigns that are targeting different geolocated kind of victims. But in our case, it was mostly North America, and the brands being abused in that sense were aligned with that. But basically, it's a consumer kind of campaign, a very basic one, trying to, get to as many people as possible, lead them to the scam, and at the end of the day, try to get their credit card information.
Do you have any sense for the availability of this kit, where people are purchasing it, and the degree to which the bad guys are using it out there?
That's a really great question. So the short answer is no. I don't have much visibility into the kit itself, how it's being sold, and what's the market behind that. But I will say that we know that kit and previous version of very similar, if not the same kit, are being used over and over again for quite some time. And I think that, in a sense, help us to understand some of the scale and some of the motivation behind the scene. Meaning that this is someone that his work. His work is to create those phishing toolkits, to take them each time to the next level, make them much more sophisticated, for many reasons, right? To not be detected. That is a motivation for a sophistication of the toolkit or creating more engagement in that sense. And they're doing that for quite some time. They're doing that in high scale. We see a lot of those. And we know it's some sort of a business for that. And that's unfortunately, what we're seeing out there.
Well, based on the information you've gathered here, then what are your recommendations for folks to best protect themselves against this?
I think that at the end of the day, there is recommendation for our colleagues, our friends, our neighbors, people that we care about, and tell them, hey, if it's too good to be true, it's probably is. Make sure that you are not falling into those scams. If someone offer you a gift, a very nice gift, and it doesn't cost anything but for you to provide your credit card number for very limited amount of money for delivery, for example, for shipment, think about it. It might be wrong, right? Don't do that. And that's for the looking at the victim from that point of view. For organization, I would say it's all about layers. It's all about our ability to create multi-layered approach that will make sure that we reduce reduce the potential of having victims from our organization to the minimum. It's not 100% bulletproof, right? But it's all about the risk and what we are doing to reduce that risk.
Our thanks to Katz from Akamai for joining us. The research is titled Highly Sophisticated Phishing Scams Are Abusing Holiday Sentiment. We'll have a link in the show notes.
Thanks to Juniper Networks for sponsoring our show. You can learn more at juniper.net/security or connect with them on Twitter or Facebook.
Hey everybody, Dave here. We love what we do here at the CyberWire and are proud to be able to provide news and insights that top leaders and decision makers rely on every day. We'd like to give a huge thanks to our many sponsors that make all of this possible and invite your company to join them in reaching over 250,000 unique listeners and 50,000 readers each week. Find out about opportunities to bring your brand and messages to the most influential audience in cybersecurity. Visit thecyberwire.com/sponsorship and join in on the action. The CyberWire podcast is proudly produced in Maryland out of the startup studios of Data Tribe, where they're co-building the next generation of cybersecurity teams and technologies. Our amazing CyberWire team is Elliot Peltzman, Trey Hester, Brandon Karpf, Eliana White, Peru Prakash, Liz Irvin, Rachel Gelfand, Tim Nodar, Joe Kerrigan, Carol Terrio, Maria Vermatzis, Ben Yellen, Nick Valecki, Millie Lardy, Gina Johnson, Bennett Moe, Catherine Murphy, Janine Daly, Jim Hoshite, Chris Russell, John Petrick, Jennifer Iben, Rick Howard, Peter Kilpie, Simone Petrella, and I'm Dave Bittner. Thanks for listening. We'll see you back here next week.